more Democrat-leaning than the one before. It's not just because they're young.
For another point of view, it's Hard News with Russell Brown and Wammo on Kiwi.
It's from the Hard News blog, publicaddress.net, Media 7 show on TVNZ7. It's the one and only Russell Brown, back for 2010. Happy New Year to you, Russell.
Yeah, same to you.
Did you get any time off?
No, not, I mean, I got time off, didn't get a lot of holidaying done because my partner snapped her Achilles tendon.
Nasty.
So, we haven't gone far.
No, I don't suppose you could on that.
No, rotten injury, that one.
And of course you've had the summer series for Media 7 as well, which has taken up a bit of time.
Yeah, which has actually been quite good this time round. I don't think we quite nailed it our first summer, but I think we've done some good shows.
Yeah.
This one.
An interesting one coming up this week, but we'll talk about that shortly. First of all, though, I do want to talk about this proposed 3 strikes law that the government's been talking about. Yeah,
this is something that ACT had touted as an election policy. Of course, looking across to America where gimmick justice has been all the rage for the last couple of decades. And very much wanted to be part of its agreement with National, its coalition agreement with National. Oddly enough, although I don't know whether you recall during the election campaign when Rodney Hyde lined up a whole lot of coffins outside Mount Eden Prison.
That's right.
And said, this is all the lives that we would have saved. And a guy called Kim Workman, a researcher, looked into the numbers and said, actually, no, it's not. None of those lives, in none of those cases that you've listed, would lives have been saved by your policy. It didn't quite work that way. So David Garrett, who's the Sensible Sentencing Trust appointee to the ACT party list, is the only way to describe him, I think, went away. And they've now come back with a retooled scheme. And I have to say, I know I occasionally tell listeners to go and read Public Address, but really, go and read Public Address on this one. Graham Edgeler, our legal beagle, has looked at this, and I have to say, pretty much every other media report on this has mistakes in it.
Really?
And maybe it's just because it's summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of them are wrong. Anyway, the key change here is that the threshold for a strike has been lowered. There doesn't have to have been an actual sentence of 5 years imprisonment, only a maximum sentence for that offence of 7 years imprisonment. So it could have actually been, although a serious offence, something that happened 20 years ago and actually wasn't that serious. You didn't even get sent to jail. Will count as a strike. You will quite easily reach a situation where on the third strike the judge will have no discretion other than to impose the minimum, the maximum sentence provided for by law, which in the case of something like manslaughter is life imprisonment without parole.
Right. But I guess the public would generally be saying, well, all these guys are bad buggers anyway. Yeah,
that's the thing, though. The way this has been reworked, the previous version got the really bad buggers. The way this has been reworked could get ordinary folks, could get the kind of people who you don't think of as the worst of the worst, which is the phrase we keep hearing.
Yeah.
There could be a couple of things. I mean, obviously it's not going to be your average clean living citizen, but this goes back 20 years, and strikes can also include offences that can and have been wiped under the clean slate law. So it's that level of offending, and you could end up with, say, having a couple of those in your past, and they don't have to be violent offences. You can end up, they just have to be something that would attract a maximum sentence of 7 years. So you can end up with that, and then it could be, say, a case of vehicular manslaughter, and you would go to jail for life.
Because does it remove the judge's ability to have discretion?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key to all these kinds of gimmick sentencing laws, is that politicians jump in and make themselves look good by removing the discretion of judges. Our system has traditionally relied on the discretion of judges. They are the people who have heard all the evidence, who have eyeballed the defendant, and are in the best place to make a decision on sentencing. Now you're going to have something, and this has been a disaster in the States in any number of ways, where the judge does not have that discretion, and where you're going to get some pretty odd results. It won't happen for quite some time because it's not retrospective, but in the next 10 to 20 years, you're going to start seeing results that seem really quite unjust and weird. And this will be long after the life of this government. I mean, really, for ACT, it's just they had to look tough on crime. They no doubt had an agreement with the Sensible Sentencing Trust that they would bring David Garrett on board their list. And there's really no other reason for David Garrett to be there. He's a ghastly MP. He's been a complete embarrassment in Parliament. But this is ACT fulfilling its promise to the Sensible Sentencing Trust.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll let some people go and check out that blog post up at publicaddress.net.
Yep.
Another big issue this week are the tax working group report has come back, or is coming back.
It's coming back today.
It's coming back today, and there's going to be some interesting proposals for the new way that we're going to be taxed.
Yeah, and this has been. It's a move that's been fairly widely urged on the government and fairly widely predicted. And it looks like basically the focus will go off income tax a little bit. Income taxes might even come down, and onto taxing capital and land in particular. Because the way that our tax system has evolved was starting to mean that a lot of wealthy people weren't paying their share of tax. Basically, particularly of income tax. The wealthier New Zealanders were quite capable of sheltering their income from taxation through trusts and that kind of thing, and putting it in things like loss attributing companies in housing. And it looks like there will be some sort of move against that. Won't be possibly as much as some people would have wanted, but this is quite interesting, and I really hope that the government does actually follow these recommendations.
Interesting. Okay, and finally, Media 7 Summer Special, the final Summer Special for the season this week is music themed.
Yeah, focused on music. First interview in any depth with Roger Shepherd about the reacquisition of Flying Nun from Warner's. I did touch on what people in the industry will know as something of a controversy. Ben Howe of Arch Hill Records was, until about 2 weeks before the announcement, going to be a partner in the deal.
Okay.
Roger eventually decided that he wanted to go it alone.
Yeah.
I think Ben has a legitimate grievance, but also that it was Roger's deal morally. But I really think those guys need to talk, frankly. Because I think that until it does get sorted out, there's a cloud over what should be a happy occasion.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. We didn't go into it in too much detail because it's not our job to work this out. But I really think they need to talk there. And I think Roger needs to go to Ben. So that was pretty interesting. I look forward to the first new Flying Nun releases. One interesting thing about that is that. Although Roger could, legally speaking, go ahead and re-release records by all the acts, at least, that had contracts with Flying Nun, he won't be doing that. Basically, the old ways of doing record contracts don't really make sense anymore.
No.
So there'll be new agreements with everyone.
And that's going to take a while to work out, no doubt. It's going to take a while to arrange.
It's going to be done, step by step, artist by artist.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that there wasn't time to get the 3Ds catalogue back out there before Laneway.
Yeah, true.
But that's the kind of thing you can expect to see. If Laneway had been 2 months later, I think there would have been a very good chance of the 3Ds catalogue being back out there as as the first re-release under the new newly re-independent Flying Nun. Also, we talked to Damien Vaughan at IMNZ about the Tate Music Prize, which is named after Dylan Tate, the famously quirky and always intelligent news reporter on TV.
And that's a new prize?
New prize, which
Great.
will be like the Mercury Prize in Britain.
Oh, brilliant.
So artistic merit only, based on albums, so you still have to have had an album.
Yeah.
But I think it really fills a gap, and I really hope it works.
That's
I was
fantastic.
teasing Damien that it was also, but yeah, is this the Ryneck Rock Award returning? But I don't think it's going to be that.
No.
And also Dave Dobbin, who plays us a song and is a delightful man. The DVD with his new compilation, Beside You, directed by Paul Casserly, is really good. It's funny and it's fascinating, so yeah.
Cool. Well, that's Media 7, which will be screening Thursday evening on TVNZ 7. Thanks very much, Russell Brown.